Hello everyone, this is Ebontis here, and I wanted to give my thoughts about Anthem and let you guys know kind of what type of game this is, what it is you're going to expect, what you're going to be doing in this game. So you've got a lot of things going on. You guys may have heard some things, you may have an issue with EA, but honestly, the people behind this game, the first thing I want to say, they're doing their absolute best to support this game to the absolute best of their ability. Ben Irving and I know a couple other the main lead people at BioWare are supporting this thing. They've been really transparent. They've been letting you know what's going on. There straight up have been some issues with the demo. This is the VIP demo. This is the one you get for preloading or having that Origin Premier access and stuff like that. Now, the issues that they've had have mostly been server side. When the game has been running, it's been a ton of fun. Feels really good. It's got nice variety between the Colossus, the Storm, the Interceptor, and the Ranger. Each of the Javelins has their own kind of niche and character to them. They have their own feel. The abilities feel cool. The ultimates kind of feel awesome. Each piece has its place. You can play your own style. You can solo probably with most of them if you just are careful and just know how you have to kind of manage your abilities. And it even has the screensaver thing where it just kind of brings everything out of focus except your Javelin does a slow rotation around it, which even I can control, and you guys can see my purple and green, crazy green goblin Mysterio mix of who knows what, Scorpionok and who knows what else. So the customization that you can do on the paint on these things is cool. There will be microtransactions. They will be cosmetic only. So if you don't really care about cosmetics, then you never spend some money. And you can honestly do all this like the customization I've got here. There may be vinyls and very specific things that you want to pay for, stuff that might, set it over the edge of kind of the, I look like a cool person. But honestly, if you just want to give yourself a cool color scheme that you put together with some different textures and fabrics and metals and things, that is definitely in there. How does the game feel? Like literally, when you're like, okay, so it's Ironman Simulator. Well, what is Ironman Simulator? I jump in the air and I fly. And it's that simple. I mean, something that just feels that intuitive is not going to be an easy thing to put together. And then when you land, it feels like these things have weight. You've got that boost ability. You feel like you're running in kind of an Iron Man suit. You can jump up. The game is very vertical, so you've got a lot of height to deal with. It's not infinitely vertical. The enemy variety has been actually pretty cool. So, I mean, that's going to be kind of a thing. You've got melee abilities. I can hover up in the air just like Iron Man probably would. Get some good damage going. And again, the enemies will definitely mess with you. On hard difficulty. Is this hard? Like, I've played a decent amount. I'm probably maxed for this area. So, I mean, this is probably going to go a little smoother than it should. But honestly, there's so many different things that I've seen so far. It's been really cool. Now, no game is perfect. I'll promise you that. There are certain things I think many of us probably think could be changed. But all in all, I really, really enjoy how this plays so far. Now, everybody has a different feel. So that's another one out there. That's a Storm. Looks like he's floating around. There's things about this that will give it its own distinction. It's going to play more like a true RPG. You have your classes. The Colossus is going to be your tank. The Storm is going to be your caster. That's that lightning thing that it's doing. It's freezing things. It's got some awesome abilities. The Interceptor is like your assassin, ninja, rogue situation where you're just in there with melee, swiping with blades, doing stuff. And then your Ranger is this like kind of in between everything, jack of all trades, still very valuable, has some cool effects to it. I feel like I probably downsell the Ranger in every one of the videos, but if you want to play the Ranger, you're still going to have an awesome time. It just depends on if you want to be able to kind of do a little bit of everything or focus specialized on one thing. And that's something me coming from Destiny doesn't really have. I mean, the Warlock, the Titan, and the Hunter don't have those major distinctions. I mean, they have jumps and supers and things, but I don't have more health, or I don't have quicker agility, or, I'm not a glass cannon with a special shield. They still have a general feel to being a Guardian. And that's one thing about this that is kind of cool. It is a very vertical space. You can fly fairly high up. You may not be able to get everywhere, and this is also part of the demo. But the flight is really, really cool. You just jump up in the air, you see somewhere you want to fly, and if you're able to get there, as long as I don't overheat and land it, and now I'm up here. And I have a completely different view on this area. I mean, the skyboxes look awesome, the detail and the graphics. I mean, the Frostbite engine is crushing it right now. So, I mean, again, another game that looks awesome. How does my, Javelin look? It looks badass, even if it is purple and fuchsia and green, it still looks cool. You have different weapons. I've got a machine pistol, just a little baby Uzi that's going to be up close range. And then I have this thing, which is just ridiculous, by the way. You've got zooming levels on it. So let me switch back to it. You can actually zoom on in, and what this thing does is it's got 5 bullets. You have 5, like as low as you can get for ammo, but when this thing fires, every shot counts. So you charge it up, you pull it back, and then when you let go of your mouse, it's like a small artillery shell. I mean, you only have 5 shots, but I've wiped chunks of damage off some major enemies with this thing. So, I mean, you have every weapon in between. I've had a marksman rifle, which is like a single burst bolt action, not bolt action, but it's like a semi-automatic single shot. I've had a pulse fire, like kind of an M16, but definitely more modernized. There's a shotgun, a grenade launcher. The Colossus can use heavy weapons, so you've got a minigun that actually spins up and will fire. It's not going to be accurate far away, but up close you're going to melt some faces. And all in all, the way the combo effects work, this is something that's just like kind of a cool thing. You have primers and detonators. Primers are going to be something that basically sets up an enemy to basically be ready to be detonated. So a primer picture would be, an easy one would be ice. So if I freeze something, it's primed. And then if I throw a firebomb on it, for example, or a burning orb or inferno grenade, one of those that's going to actually explode, like even a frag grenade, it's going to explode and get extra combo damage. And again, the screensaver really never gets tiring. I wish more games would do this because it just looks amazing. So you've got all that variety in there, and to me, that's the fun stuff. So I can clip some footage in here. I'm going to have videos about all the different javelins, but I just wanted to get out my general feels on the demo. And to me, it looks cool. It is fun, and the big question I think everybody's going to have, just like any new game when it comes out, what is the longevity? What is the end game? The leveling up in this feels like a lot of fun. Now, it's going to be different. The way the gear works is it's kind of its own thing. I'll head back into the Forge and kind of explain the abilities and the gear and the way all that stuff works. But the main question is going to be the longevity. Say I go through the main story, they call it the critical path. There's probably some side quests in there. But when you get to the end, what is it? Is it just min-maxing? Are there extra difficulties? Which there are. And what, how much variety is there in content? A stronghold is kind of like a strike, not quite a raid. I would probably call that a Destiny version of a strike. You proceed through it, or a dungeon, or whatever you want to call it. So you've got multiple encounters, different phases of things. You've got an encounter in one place, you've got a boss in another, but it's not going to be like really mechanics heavy, like, I would consider a raid, figuring things out too brutally. Mostly it seems to be shooting stuff, at least at the stronghold state. Now, they've said they've got a roadmap, they've got plans for stuff down the road. They are working on getting the game out there right now, so right now it's just kind of a wait and see. But do I think your money is probably going to be well spent putting some time into Anthem? If you enjoy min-maxing, and that may not even make sense to you, but if you enjoy like leveling up a character, picking up new abilities, using different ones, it's going to be cool because you have access as your pilot to all the javelins. So take Destiny, for example, or even Diablo, for example. You're going to pick a warrior, or you're going to pick a Titan, and you're going to level that character up, and that's the only thing you've got. If you want to go do a different character, you have to start over. In this, as you play through, I'm going to start as a ranger, but as I unlock at level 2, which is pretty much the basic story, and then 8, then 16, and 24, you're going to unlock the other javelins, and your pilot, the human person, jumps in the other javelin, and you can have all those other abilities. So you have the option in this game to have 4 different playstyles in one single game, of which you don't have to start over. That's a nice thing for a lot of people, because some would be like, oh, this grind is so long. Say, the Destiny Year 1 story was a bit of a struggle for some people. Destiny 2 Year 1, it's slower, the Red War, it has some cool stuff, but if you've done it twice and you're looking at your third character, you're like, oh, do I really want to do this again? You won't have to. But in turn, if you get to the end, working on your different javelins is going to be your grind, but if you just have to grind the same stuff over and over on different javelins, is that going to get, kind of the old repetitive nature? It is still a looter shooter. Now, it's third person, which is a give or take for some. It's just different. Third-person nature in this game gives it some aspects of it looking really cool. You get to admire your javelin. The cosmetics are a little more important. Those are things they put some time into because they know you're going to be looking at them. But in turn, take a game like Destiny, one of the best shooters out there. There's no question the shooting mechanics in that game are really, really good. But on the other side of it, you've got the option of attachment to guns. I mean, if I get Thunderlord, if I get Whisper of the Worm, those guns have a distinct feel. I know how to shoot them. I kind of get a feel for the recoil pattern. I know how to run with them. You get attached to those guns because that is what makes your character. Those guns are really, and your abilities, of course, but those do not come up that often now, so you're really, really, really attached to your guns. This is going to be more of a flip. It is based all on your abilities, on your min-maxing of the stats and the rolls on those abilities and things like that. And you've got the 4 different Javelins, so you get a variety between all of those. And you can actually take the weapons between them. I've got this Devastator sniper rifle, but as I've got the Devastator, you know, that one sniper rifle at higher levels is still probably going to feel exactly the same. So there's not going to be any perks that make the gun have a snappier aim down sights. There's not going to be any perks that give me a bigger clip, at least specifically to that gun. Maybe a clip is a bad example. There might be a perk for that. There's not anything that's going to be like Head Seeker that's going to give me extra bonus damage when I go for headshots, because it's not going to function that way. The perks on these things are going to be more for ammo and shields and abilities and things like that, and your weapons are going to be more of a byproduct. Your abilities are your main focus. Working on your build. Say one of your people in your party is going to run a Colossus, and they're going to run Firewall, Mortar, and Flamethrower. They're going to run Fire and Prime everything. You're like, okay, so I'm going to run Detonator so I can explode everything. I can run a Seeker Missile that'll, you know, track on one. I've got a Frag Grenade that'll explode everything. Sticky Grenade. My multi-missile battery, if he flame throws everything, lights it all on fire, and I do my ultimate, I'm going to explode everything, bunch of combo damage, and it's going to be absolute insanity. And when you get into some of these higher difficulties, it's going to take some coordination like that. One thing to know about this game, everything has matchmaking. Now, free play, you can roam around, not run into anybody for a while, or load in right next to anybody. So you can solo a decent amount of this game. You will be able to make sessions private, which is nice. You can't do it in the demo, but later on, if you want to just explore, run around, it can be totally private. Obviously, you guys can say, you're like, I'm not really standing on something, but I probably shouldn't even be up here in the first place, so I'm not sure the textures up here are working quite correctly. But just the verticality to the game alone will definitely be a change from what many things that we're used to. I mean, I can just fly over here, land, and I'm sitting on this structure now. It looks really cool, like a city is built in the side of the mountain. There's potentially some ads down there. I mean, if I look down my scope, I mean, that right there isn't, if I can actually be on the edge. My mouse is being funky, sorry guys. See, I've got 12 bullets. This is my super, and I just hit the wrong button, so that's not what I was going for. I was trying to zoom in, and that dude's definitely going to be hurting pretty quick. Now I'm so far away, he can't do much about it, but it's actually pretty cool. And the other side is how far can I fire a Seeker Missile? That blast missile will tag him, but this thing hits so much harder. And again, you have a gun like this, but if I try and fire my machine pistol, I might tag him for a little bit, but the idea is to come down in there. If he's trying to tag me, try and dodge out of here. Keep flying. And smash down, finish him up. Get that laser down, finish the melee, and you're good to go. So, I mean, just the nature that I can be perched way up high, looking down at him, come fly down, shoot a rocket, snipe him from far away, and then jump out and fly around. It's pretty cool. The world environments look awesome. The detail has been really well done. I will say the swimming for me, I've got to do some tweaks to controls because normal flying feels pretty good. Swimming feels like I'm drunk. So that's just, I think, a control percentage and sensitivity and stuff like that will be a thing. But all in all, this game is a lot of fun so far. And again, how much time do you want to spend in this game is really depending. Do you like third person? Do you like looter shooters? Do you like min-maxing in a game like Diablo, playing against harder and harder difficulty stuff? So let's go into the Forge, and I'm going to talk about how all of some of that stuff works when we're in town and you're picking missions and difficulties and things like that. So let's get back into Fort Tarsus, and we'll continue this discussion.